directions are on the board. I will be walking around if you need me. Go ahead and get started. Wait, where's I'm looking. I gotta find that page. Now, you have a question about text structure. You need to know what the text structures are. Did anybody bring their notebook with them? Good job, Josh. See, that's what I like to see. Then obviously, Jocelyn said she needs the credit. So good job, Jocelyn. Good job, Josh, for listening to her.
So yeah, and then like parents, and then like like I'm trying to avoid it playing anyway.
Yeah, but on C it means to avoid it, not really effective allowing it, because it's not like he would have a choice to allow it, because his parents would say that.
Oh yeah.
And he's not a Game Boy after bedtime. So that means to like avoid the bedtime.
Oh, okay.
So C. All agree?
Yep.
Okay. C.
We chose C because
You don't have to write out the whole answer. I should know what the left is. Oh, no. Okay. You have 1 minute left, so keep an eye on the clock. Why is that answer right? Wait, say you have an answer. Why is that answer right?
because in the text it says he dodged and then his parents put on his gaming, so that means he kind of ignored them.
We had to decide between two.
You gotta decide between which ones?
Because it's not, because he's not like allowing it because his parents are telling him.
So he had to avoid like.
Do you know what this word right here means? Cunning?
Yes.
What does it mean?
Like smart and.
Smart. Like, you know, a fox, they say a fox is cunning, right? Because it's really quick and it gets away with stuff. So even if you didn't know here, even if this one was the one that tricked you up, right away, if you knew what cunning meant, you knew he was kind of being tricky. Is playing your video game at home at bedtime when you're not supposed to be, is that being tricky? Yeah. So even if you were down between two of them, you could have looked at the words in there. So finish writing them. Sorry, I don't want to take your time.
By his parents. The text says he played his Game Boy after bedtime, and the word cunning means tricky, and he's being tricky.
That means go to the next one. You should be on the next one. Look and see what that one says.
I think it's C. Because it's not talking about to not allow. And it's not talking to allow something to bother you.
He thought up of a way to avoid his parents. So,
Look at what the statement says. What's the statement say? Especially when it improved multiple brain calories. So, but that was good though, because now Roger White can't be right. That's exactly. So you've already eliminated one answer, so now you're down to 3. Okay, so what you thinking? A little closer. Right. Almost done? What you got? Okay, why? What is the reason for that?
Because when they played the video games, it improved
Their mind. What else did it improve?
it supports the statement.
Their minds. What else? Do you remember, Marcella? What else it improved? You're looking. I like that. You're looking back. That's good. I didn't even say that before we started. I'm glad you're looking. What else did it improve, Tiffany? You remember? improve their mind. What else? You're looking right there. What? Their health? It said that what was that? It broadened their interest. So is that multiple areas? Yeah. Well, I could think about, but look at B. Did you cross out the others and make sure they're all right? Because which one of these is what we call the distractor answer? The one that's,
I think D.
the one that's so close it could be right. You think it's D? Because it says what? They can make students interested in activities other than school.
Yeah, that's just
Why is that not the right answer?
Because that's
though?
just one thing. It's not multiple things.
Exactly, and what's the one thing that's not mentioned there? It's right here in this section. Ooh, okay, we'll hurry. What's the one thing that's not mentioned where it talks about where it says gaming might burn, what's it say? Calories. That's not there. So that one would be the distractor question, the one that you want to be very careful. That's why he said health. Okay, makes sense. Good job. That was good. I'm glad y'all picked up on that. That means you should be at the next one. Okay, and now, what's the very first step based on after you've read that question? What's the very first step that you're going to do? Determine the what? So what is that in other words? Took notes on these things. On page 90 in your notebook. Anybody bring their notebook? Ah, she's gonna get it. So determine the structure of the text. Okay, find the structure of the text. So how, let's see, what do we call those things on page 90? Nope, 88.
Text structures?
So is that another way of saying structure of the text?
Yes.
So what are you going to do here? What's the first thing you're going to do?
Which one it is?
Exactly, and then what's the second part of the question then?
And analyze how it contributes to the overall meaning of the text.
It talks about how it was green on the same line.
You got C? Why? Why?
Austin answered it.
He did? What was it? I know, Austin. I know I'm going to have to learn. I'm going to have to learn you very specific in that question. You're going to get community. And when it happens, I want you to do a shout out to me on the stage, okay?
If I ever do get the shout out, I'm going to not get the shout out, so I can do shout outs.
No, me. You're going to get to me. So what does cunning mean? What does that mean? You know? Smart way. Okay, so this kid who's playing video games, not just playing video games, but he gets on his game one place at night. What is he question? What's he doing? I mean,
He's like,
I don't know, listen, but it talks about
he's doing it at night so that his parents don't know about it.
exactly. How are you going to get away with stuff so your parents don't know?
You do.
That's called being cunning. It's being clever. Yes, being sneaky. I like that. That's good. Are y'all almost ready? We're done. Because it shows how to. Okay, stop where you are. Stop where you are. Okay. So the speaker is going to be talking in each group. There is a presenter. That means that everyone else, our expectation says that when that person is teaching, we all look at them as if they are the teacher. So I know all of you didn't get to answer all of them, but you did get to answer most. So let's see how it goes. We're going to do question number 1. Is there a group that answered question number 1 that would like to teach this one to the class? Roger?
Just raise my hand saying I'm doing it.
Oh, you don't want to teach to the class? Okay. Reagan, y'all want to teach to the class? Okay. Let me read the question. Here's the question for question number 1. It says, identify a sentence from the text that supports this statement. Video games can be beneficial to kids, especially with improving their brain functions. Here's our option for A. Researchers have done thousands of studies on gaming since the 1980s. Most of them found that gaming is clearly bad for kids. B. Gaming might burn more calories than just watching TV, she believes. C. Gamers can get really attached to the characters, and that's not a bad thing, he said. Or D. Riviera said video games broadened his interests and made his mind more agile. So, if you are going to look at them, they're going to tell you which answer is right and why.
We chose answer D because he said that video games improve the agility of his mind and open up his eyes to other interests.
Okay? Now, I was with this group when they were answering this question. And right away, somebody said what answer option? What was it that you said?
D.
What was the other one?
We said B at
You
first.
said B at first. Why was B wrong?
Because it was saying, it was talking about calories, but the statement says improve beneficial like brain functions, and B was talking about burning calories.
Good job. Now the other groups that answered question number 1, raise your hand. If you answered, what would y'all say your answer was?
We chose D because it shows how video games can improve kids' brains.
Good job. Okay, how about, who answered question number 2? Y'all want to teach it? Okay. Here's the question. It says, analyze the text and determine a central idea of the text. A, spending time playing video games can be a method for students to improve in multiple areas of their life. B, spending time playing video games can have negative impacts on a student's life. C, spending time playing video games will allow students to meet more friends online and form new relationships. And D, spending time playing video games can be the one thing that makes a student interested in activities other than school. So what did you say the answer was?
We chose A because in the text it's talking basically it's talking about in the text how like say a kid goes home and he starts playing this game. Like with number 1, it was saying brain functions. Games improve brain functions and stuff like burning calories and stuff like that. And those were areas of a person's life like food and stuff and brain functions. So we chose A because it's analyzing the text and determining the central idea of the text.
Good job. What did you guys say?
We picked C. We chose C because,
No, we're number 2.
in the article it talks about spending time playing video games can help with social skills and academic activities, and that's A.
So you said A? Okay. This group right here, now you guys, we talked about what we call the distractor question. What's the distractor question, Dylan?
The distractor question is like,
Or the distractor answer, I should say, I'm sorry.
the distractor answer is whenever it's like giving you an answer that just uses big words to kind of throw you off from the answers that are actually correct.
Which one, this group right here, I walked by and they said, they were talking. Which one of these did you say was the distractor answer? D. Why? Do y'all remember? Yes.
Because it only focused on one subject of what actually improved them instead of focusing on what all of them.
Awesome.
It distracted us too.
It distracted you too. That's the one that I told y'all. That's the one that's close. But yeah, like Dylan said, they're going to throw in a bunch of big words in that answer to make you think it's it, but it's probably not. Number 3 here, and then it says determine the meaning of the underlined word that it was used in the text. He grew up mesmerized by games from Pokemon to Call of Duty and dodged the limits his parents put on his gaming by playing his Game Boy after bedtime. First of all, diabolical kid here, okay, getting away with things. But what does dodged mean? A, dodge in this context means to move quickly out of the way. B, dodge in this context means to allow something to bother you. C, dodge in this context means to avoid something in a cunning way. Or D, dodge in this context means to make a conscious decision to not allow something to be part of your life. You guys answered this question. Teach it to us.
We picked C because cunning means to do something in a smart and it's creative way, and he outsmarted his parents by playing part in his bedtime.
What about this group over here? What did y'all say?
We chose C because the text says he played his Game Boy after bedtime. And C said the word cunning, and that means tricky, and he was being tricky by playing his Game Boy after bedtime.
Very good, very good. Do you know which one of those answers was like the screaming in your face wrong one? Which one was it?
I think A.
A said this. Dodge in this context means to quickly jump out of the way. Do you know that's what dodge means? If you're playing dodgeball with somebody and they throw a ball at you, what do? You move. Do you know why it's called dodgeball? Because that's dodging. But there's more than one meaning to the word dodged. If you put A down there, technically, dodge does mean to jump out of the way. But in the context that it was used, does that mean that kid is jumping out of the way of this game system? No. Okay. Number 4. Determine the structure of the text and analyze how it contributes to the overall meaning of the text. A. The author used the text structure of compare and contrast to look at the positive and negative effects of video games on students. B. The author used the text structure of description to describe the various video games and their impact on students. Or C. The author used the text structure of argument support to present their opinion that video games can be useful to students and improve different areas of their lives. Or D, the author used the text structure of cause and effect to highlight the video games that are the cause of many problems. You guys answer this one. Teach it to us.
We chose C. We chose the answer C because they supported their opinions throughout the text many of times, and C is the text structure of agreement or support.
Okay. How about you guys? You also answered it. Teach it to us.
We chose C because he wants to show how people can support and argue how video games are good and bad for people's lives.
What kind of writing do we call that now? We don't call it persuasive anymore. What do we call it? Do y'all remember? We have,
I think,
argumentative. What does that mean, Ian?
To argue your point.
Do you honestly think your parents are going to agree with this man? That video games are going to help you? No, but does he do a pretty good job arguing it? Yeah, what do you think? Could you kind of sway your parents into believing? What do you think, Roger?
Well, the claim is that video games are bad for you, but the counterclaim, what the band is arguing, is that they are beneficial.
Exactly, thank you. Yeah, most of your parents are going to claim that they're bad for you, but this guy will be doing the counterclaim. Good job. I'm glad you picked up on that. And number 5, last but not least, number 5. It says, assess how the author ensured that sound reasoning was used throughout the text. A, the author used scientific data and statistics about how video games promote brain activity. B, the author used research findings, interviews from experts and students to demonstrate positive benefits of playing video games. C, the author used quotes from video game creators to prove that the games were created to be helpful. Or D, the author used an analysis of student brain activity to argue that video games have a damaging effect on students. You answer this one. Teach it to us.
We chose B because they used research finding about what kids think about video games.
Anybody else that answered this question? What did y'all say?
We said the answer is B, and the answer is B because the article used a lot of research examples throughout the passage. Like even one of the headings for the
It just said research.
they said research.
Awesome. Did you guys answer this one? Which one did y'all say?
B.
Why?
Because, wait, what was the question?
Assess how the author ensured that sound reasoning was used throughout the text.
Because C and D didn't make any sense to us, and we were like going down the list and we was like choosing ones that didn't make any sense or could be a maybe or no. And A was a maybe for us, but then when we looked at B and A, we chose B because B was more reasonable.
Do you know, Roger, you said A is a maybe for you. Does anybody in this room know what a statistic is? You may not have made it to math in math. I know Dylan does, Rylan. Anybody else? Roger?
It's a stat?
It's a stat? Okay, what does that mean? How do people play sports? Raise your hand if you play sports. Or you, like, watch sports or something. Okay, I totally have no clue about baseball, but is there anybody in here who's, like, a hardcore baseball fan? Rylan. Okay, Rylan. What is RBI or any of those things? What do they mean?
RBI means run batted in. Like if someone's on base, like at first or something, and someone hits like to the outfield and they like go all the way home, that's an RBI.
Okay, when people look at you and they look at your numbers about you, the statistics about you in baseball, is the RBI one of the ones they know?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? How do you watch TV? I mean, that's everybody, right? You ever seen a commercial for toothpaste? What's one of the things they say at the end, or they get some man in a white jacket to say?
99% of dentists recommend.
99% of dentists recommend. Do you know what that is? A statistic. Yes. In this article, did you ever hear them say that 60% of kids who played video games did better in school? Did they say that? No. They didn't list statistics for you. Yes, sir.
Is it also kind of like how they have it on the Germ-X bottles, like 99% of germs? Like kills 99%?
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like that. But when you think about statistics, you think about how many people are going to vote for something or what your batting average is. That is all analysis of numbers. Okay? So overall, I think you did a pretty good job. Are there any questions? No? Let me ask this question. Did it help that we had gone over what all these words meant yesterday? Yeah. Because when you got to assess, you already knew what it meant, right? How about, was there any others? Analyze. You already knew what that one meant. What was the other ones that you saw? Identify. Did you determine? Yes, we went over these yesterday. Did that help? Yes. Okay, here's what I need you to do. It's going to be directions for the supply manager and materials manager on the board. It's going to be your job to do what it says. Everybody else, go back to your seats.